Hello, hello, and welcome to the Innovative Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Isolde Trachtenberg. I'm excited to talk to you about something that it actually isn't happening now. It's going to be happening in the beginning of January. You know how many people do New Year's resolutions? Well, I do New Year's revolutions. I radically change things or go back full circle around to things that I've done before. And today I want to talk to you about something that I'm going to do starting January 3rd and invite you to be a part of it. It's going to be a combination of podcast and real life work day stuff that you get to do if you decide you want to participate and awaken or reawaken your unique creative genius. On January 3rd, I'm going to be starting to work on The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Now, the first time I did this book was way back in 1997, and because I did the book, I released an album, I've written 7 books, I incorporated a lot of her advice, guidance, and prescriptions, if you will, into my own creative life and work, and it has stood me in incredibly good stead. Some of the exercises and some of the practices that she recommends, I started back in 1997 and continue to this day. And I'm going to be going through the book week by week, starting in the beginning of January at the beginning of 2022, and working through the exercises and talking about them. And I want to invite you to be a part of it. And not only do I want to invite you to be a part of it, but you're going to get exclusive access to not just me, but the work that I do and the work that 3 other creative artists do. I'm going to be asking and having 3 people: Alan Fessenden, who is a writer, an actor, and a comedian; Megan Vasilis, who's a writer, urban explorer, and aspiring podcaster; and Sergio Tejada, a writer, musician, and advocate, going through the process at the same time. So what you're going to have is 4 people talking about the process of going through the artist's way, and Julia Cameron calls it, it's creative recovery. It's a 12-week program that you go through within the book to reawaken your unique creative genius and talent and skill. And so you're going to be able to participate if you'd like. I'm going to invite you, and in fact, I am inviting you to be a part of it, to take part in this really, really, really fascinating, compelling, exciting, and vulnerable process of going deep inside yourself and excavating your creative genius. What's interesting to me about this process is that it takes you some really unexpected places, some really intimate places, and vulnerable places where you don't think you're going to be vulnerable. All of a sudden, you find yourself weeping because of something that you'd completely forgotten about that happened when you were 8 years old. And yet, because it impacted you as a creative being, because I believe we are all creative beings, but because something that happened to you when you were 8 years old impacted you, it might stunt or explode your creativity. It depends on what happened, and The Artist's Way invites you to go through your life, your work, and your sense of creative worth and really explore it and make it your own. And I have to say, there's something about it that's, again, it's exciting and it's compelling, and it's also a little scary, which is why it's best to go through it with cohorts, with friends. And Alan, Megan, and Sergio are in the writers group that I started, the Vegan Writers of New York City. They are in it, and we work together once every 2 weeks to improve our own craft, our ability as writers. We give each other feedback. We figure out exactly what will work, what needs to happen, and how to help each other. And going through The Artist's Way, I think, works really well if you want to do it this way, if you do it with colleagues, with friends, with a cohort, with comrades in arms, if you will. And so Sergio, Megan, and I are going to be, and Alan and I, Sergio, Megan, Alan, and I, sorry about that, Alan, if you're listening to this, are going to be working through the book week by week together, and I'm inviting you officially to participate. If you decide you want to participate, there are going to be places to comment every week. In the show notes, there's going to be the ability to comment on them and to tell us your story. And if you have things that you would like to add to the conversation, by gum, I'll read them out. Because each week we're going to be reading a chapter, and not during the podcast, of course, but reading a chapter and then doing the exercises. And then the following week, we're going to be meeting and talking about our experiences of having gone through that previous chapter. So you can do it at the same time. And the reason for this is because, again, we're not solo here. There are a lot of artistic pursuits, I think, that have the patina of being solo pursuits, but really having someone there in your corner to support you or to give you feedback or even critique if you're ready for it and interested in it is crucial to your development as a creative being. And since I think we're all creative beings, it's really, really helpful to have people in your corner. So you're going to have Alan, Megan, Sergio, and me talking about The Artist's Way week after week. The first episode is going to come out whatever that Tuesday is, after New Year's Day. It's either January 3rd or January 4th, whichever that Tuesday is. We're going to have read the introduction, and we're going to talk about what our hopes and goals are. And then the following week, which would be January 10th or January 11th, we'll be talking about Chapter 1. And then the following week after that, we'll be talking about Chapter 2. But in the meantime, we will have read the chapter and gone through the exercises that she talks about. If you decide you want to do it, see if you can take the book out of the library if you don't have the funds to afford it. But it's developed good. My brain. It's available wherever you shop for books. It's a really well-known book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And I hope that you'll join us. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in episodes to come, but I wanted to give you the heads up that this is happening. I also wanted to talk very briefly about NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo's National Novel Writing Month, and I have a lot of friends and colleagues who are participating in it this year. What it is you sign up at nanowrimo.org, and you commit to writing 50,000 words between November 1st and November 30th. And much as I love NaNoWriMo, and I did it last year, and I wrote a mystery, which I am editing now and getting ready for publication, I usually don't have time in November to do this. I usually am way too crazed busy with jobs and gigs, so I don't do it. If you are doing NaNoWriMo, drop me a line and let me know how it's going. I'd love to hear. But if you're not, I'm going to ask you and invite you to join me for what I'm calling ISBO-WriMo. And probably the NaNoWriMo people won't like that I'm using it, but ISBO-WriMo is Isolde's book writing month in January. So not only will we be talking about The Artist's Way, but we will also I will be writing a book. And it might be the book that I've been writing for a while now, called The Mindful Creative. And that is all about how we can unleash that creative genius inside of us to improve our work and our lives. Or I might write the second book in the Tarot Card Murders. I am not sure yet. And I decided not to call it a novel writing month for me because it could be a book that's nonfiction. I'm also super excited. I know there's a lot of creative stuff going on. Sometime this week or next, the anthology that I'm in is coming out, Midlife on Fire, and November 13th will be the virtual book release party. I'm going to put the link up in the show notes for this episode, but also somewhere on my website. I'm so excited to be part of that, so honored about being part of an anthology full of fabulous, powerful women who are all talking about being in this midlife stage and what it means to us in various themes and subject matters to be at this point in our lives, and how free and powerful we get to be, and the struggles that we've overcome. So I'm going to definitely put that in the show notes so that if you want to participate in the virtual a book release, you are welcome to do that. All right, I think I've talked about everything I need to talk about today. I hope that you are spending a lot of time being creative and doing the things that make you thrilled and excited. And until next time, I invite you. Oh, yes, I have to tell you the episode is brought to you by Brain FM. If you decide you want to try the app, which I use to do all of my productivity and creativity and recharging and meditation work now, I just have it in on my phone and earbuds in my ears, and it just supercharges my ability to create. I can get you. Psst, hey kid, come here. I can get you a discount. If you go to brain.fm/innovative mindset, you can get a 20% discount and try the app. See what you think. It has supercharged. I have a friend who is a certified financial planner, and she says that anytime she needs to be doing the deep, intense numbers work, that it works for her too. So not only will it work if you're doing creative pursuits, but if you need to do deep, intense work with data and numbers, it will also help you focus and concentrate. It's an amazing app. Dan Clark, who is the CEO of Brain FM, was on the show relatively recently, and he blew me away with what they were talking about, with what the app is doing, so much that I had to try it for myself and love it so much that now I'm an evangelist for it. So if you want to do it, go for it. And I think you'll love it. And what can I say about? Oh, yeah, because I'm an affiliate, I might get a little bit of money for it. So this is Isolde Trachtenberg for the Innovative Mindset Podcast, reminding you to dream big, create your life, and dare all.